Hey guys, Kyoryuger here with another review. This time I'll be reviewing the Jyuden Brave box from Jyuden Sentai Kyoryuger. This is a carrying case that Kyoryugers use that holds up to 18 Judenchi. So this includes two things, the Jyuden Brave box and one exclusive Judenchi. So let's take a look. Now because it fills up so much of the frame, I don't really need to bring the Jyuden Brave box any closer, and just from this point you can see a lot of details. It's mostly composed of the stony brown color with little bits of gray and some silver. On the front we have this detail that looks like the clasp for a leather briefcase, which is actually somewhat of a facade due to the way it actually opens. The sticker that resembles some kind of a display screen, and then this other sticker that has an enlarged version of the Kyoryuger symbol on it. It also has these 4 points on the corners of both sides that are basically meant to protect it from fall damage or from falling over and possibly damaging the front or the back, as these are raised so that if it is laid down on either side, these points up here are what lay on the ground, and so neither the front or the back really touch the ground much. On the top we have the clasps and the handle, which is designed to fit 5 fingers and folds both front and back. Speaking of the back, flipping it around, we can see a giant embossed version of the Kyoryuger symbol with various lines coming from it. Also note is that if you look closer, you can see that they're molded in cracks to give it somewhat of an ancient look, or a used look, like it's been around for a long time. And it does have a nice texture to it as well. It is a very nice way to show even more than on the front that this belongs to the Kyoryugers. And again we have these 4 corner points that are meant to keep it from damage. Now, because this holds 18 Judenchi, I went ahead and preloaded it before starting this video. So when you open this up, you're going to be seeing that there are some Judenchi already in there. But, to open it up, just unlock these 2 clasps, pull them down, and then open it up. And you can hear a very loud ratcheting click. And so, you have this part on the inside. As you can see, each half has 9 slots, holding a total of 18 Judenchi. And as you can also see, I have it mostly filled up with my Super Sentai Judenchi, as I still do store my Guardians Judenchi in Gigant Bragio. This also gives me room to store the Deluxe Judenchi that I have, as well as Carnival, Victory, and Maximum. And the last slot is one I use for this one. So this is the SB, or Special Brave Judenchi. This is one that can, like I said in the beginning, only be gone with this particular item, making it exclusive. So this one has the standard red color, there's SB, and for the triangular sticker we have their symbol. On the inside part, on the charge side, we have the Kyoryuger's logo. And unlike what you might get, or unlike the impression you might get from a lot of other reviewers, the symbol and the logo are 2 different things. And a lot of times people are somewhat misusing the term logo. Now unfortunately the logo on the inside is just for the charge side and is actually just colored in and not glow in the dark. Going to the Brave inside, we can see the triangular symbols for Gabutira through Bunpaki. And it's got a nice glittery style to it. being this nice sparkly holofoil. And on the back, like with most special Jyuden, it just says Kyoryuger. So, with this open slot, we can take a look at what one of the slots is like. It has this gap space for being able to take out the Jyuden, and then it is designed in a cylindrical way to fit the shape of any Jyuden. Though it only goes in one way, as you can see, there is this space up here, and these little notches within the foam. These are meant to fit the spikes on the top of any Jyuden. So they only go in this way, and you can't put them in upside down. And this is completely friction based. There are no, as you can see, there are no kind of clips in here. And so they're just meant to squeeze right in. They fit nice and snugly. And then take one out. You just put your finger in here, then pull it out. It also gives you enough room so that you can take one, put your fingers at both ends, and then pull it out that way. Another thing to note is that one of the inserts is more shallow than the other. On the top, we have the insert being closer to the middle, whereas for the bottom half, it's more sunken in. This way, when it closes down, you don't risk the Jyuden colliding with each other as they are aligned with each other, because the inserts are basically the same. This way you can close it down, and you don't have them hitting each other. And it's also designed so that they fit in snugly enough that they won't fall out. And it does mean you can kind of create displays with 18 different Jyuden, or however many you want. Now, one thing to note is that for some people this toy might seem familiar, and there's a reason for that. It's because the Jyuden Brave Box is actually a retool of the Astro Switch Kaban from Kamen Rider Forze. However, from what I can tell, not much has been reused. The most notable part that's been reused are the corner guards, which are the same mold and the same colored plastic. Although, well, okay, not exactly the same color. Rather, there's a gray color used for the Jyuden Brave Box, while a matte black color is used for the Astro Switch Kaban. So the first thing to compare is the fronts. Well, you can see that this general shape is the same with these divots on the inside. You can see that the part here with the Kamen Rider Club sticker is all just one part with a sticker on it. Whereas for here, this is a different mold, as well as this part being also part of the mold. These are not parts that are screwed on. Of course, going around the back, these are two completely different parts. As you can see, the technical details on the back of the Astro Switch Kaban, as well as the panel that folds up to be a stage for any FMCS figure. Where this is just one solid piece. Another thing that's been changed is the way it's jointed. Opening up the Astro Switch Kaban, you can hear some ratchets, but not too many. Whereas when you open up the Jyuden Brave Box, you hear many different clicks. And the way it's engineered is basically an improvement over the Astro Switch Kaban. When you see it, the way this is hinged is all dependent on this center part, where you have this part that goes into these many notches. The thing is, it's not actually very strong. It doesn't hinge at that many parts, or rather it doesn't click at that many parts. And after a certain point, it has a tendency to just fall back. Whereas with the Jyuden Brave box, it's actually got these 2 points on either end, with these various teeth that hinge into place. It has teeth along here, and the way it works is you can actually see that move. This way it can hinge into any position you want. And it doesn't fall back. Although depending on how many Jyuden you have in, it may get weighed back, like so. So you want to get into a position where it's upright, but doesn't fall over. Additionally, one obvious thing is that the inner pieces are quite different. With this, there's really nothing on this top part, except for this big sticker. And on the bottom part, not only do we have this foam insert that's designed for astro switches, but there's actually different parts of the plastic, where you have these spring-loaded clips to hold astro switches into place. Whereas for each, they're basically two of the same part with different depths. And the foam inserts are pretty much reversed. As you can see, the spaces for each row changes side, and that continues down to the bottom half. Unfortunately, what it also means is that the colors don't exactly match up on top, because the insert pieces are black and this is actually part of the insert piece, so it doesn't match up with the brown parts of the outer shells. They also notably improved the hinges, as with the Astro Switch Kaban, naturally it only opens up to that far, and to actually get it to hinge all the way, you have to push it in, and then it'll snap in place, and what that does is actually it makes it a little bit tough to pull back out. Whereas with these, there's enough clearance so that you can just fold it all the way open and flush with the lower part. So while they use this as a base for the Jyuden Brave box, there are a lot of differences and even improvements. And I imagine if there's ever a gimmick again that will have the size or shape to make use of something like this, they'll probably build off of this. So that comparison out of the way, we now get to the sounds of the special Brave Jyuden. So for these I'll be using, or for this I'll be using, the Gabu Revolver and Kyoryuger de Carnival as is typical of most Jyuden. This makes the same sounds in the Gabu Revolver and Gabu Tira. And for the Vamo Lamucho finisher for Kyoryuger, it just has a generic explosion. Also, I'm going to do with only these two because this one actually has a long phrase in both of these items. So starting off with the Gabu Revolver. Start in. And before I actually play the sound, I'm just going to tell you a description of what it is. Basically, for this Jyuden, either the Gao Revolver or Kyoryuger/Kyoryuger will give descriptions of each of the dinosaurs that the eight Jyuden Ryu on the Genji are based on. So going from Tyrannosaurus to Pachycephalosaurus. Unfortunately, because I can't find it written down anywhere, I can't really give a translation for what it's all saying. But you should be able to at least pick out the dinosaur names within there. Although, being based in Japanese, they don't exactly match up with English pronunciations. So, here we go. Now, one thing I will say is that while I can't tell you exact translation for those phrases, I can say that they're basically descriptions of what made those dinosaurs unique. Such as Parasaurolophus having a long horn on its head, or a Triceratops having 3 horns. Then we have the special attack. And then I'll just pull out another one. And use that in the top slot so we can get the low-pitched sound. Now, as would be expected, this makes a different sound in Kyoryuger Carnival. And though while it is fairly long, the phrases it says, are much more recognizable. And so, for Kyoryuger Carnival, the special Brave Jyuden makes it say out the roll call phrases for Kyoryu Red through Kyoryu Gray. And so for those, I will be able to put descriptions or translations on screen. And so, with the sounds out of the way, you can take this and store it back inside. And there we have all 18 spaces filled up. And with it closed and locked in place, it's ready to go. So overall, I would say that this is a fairly worthwhile item. It's a much better way of taking Jyuden around than either of the Mo Buckles. And it has more storage space in this one item than both of them combined. It's also well designed, having so many hinges that it can lock into place at any position, and having each Jyuden fit in snugly and softly, and it's designed so that they don't get damaged. And like its predecessor, it is designed so that it itself has these protectors so that it doesn't get damaged in the places where it needs to keep details. Now, for me, I really just got to go along with, my Super Sentai Jyuden, as I'm still, like I said, storing my Guardian Jyuden in Giga and Bragio. But if you don't have Giga and Bragio, and you have a lot of extra Jyuden you kind of want somewhere to store, as long as you don't have too many, I would suggest getting this just because this is good for extra storage for your extra Jyuden. While you can store, most of the regular Jyuden, the ones that come with the Jyuden, in their respective dinosaurs. And despite how it seems on camera, this isn't actually all too big. It's actually not much bigger than a metal lunchbox. And so it's actually quite easy to carry around, or even store in a backpack. So as both a storage case and a carrying case for Jyuden, this works very well, and if you haven't picked one up already, then I can definitely recommend it. So, thanks for watching. Please rate, comment, subscribe, and check out my channel for more videos. And for now, this is KRX50, riding off.